Okay?
Yes, sir.
Recording on?
Ji.
Because recording has to be made available to all who are absent. Today is the introduction part, so therefore, let me reiterate, there are no notebooks today, no notepads, nothing which is to be tangible. Everything has to be on thought-oriented basis today. Well, a very interesting feature of this program is that I initiated this program with the basic premise that let it touch the intellectual minds around NCR. And a very interesting thing sprung out of it when I approached with this program with my esteemed worthy business clients, namely Steel Authority, NTPC, MMTC, the main source to my programs. They immediately came back with a different understanding. And that understanding was that the moment we step out of our office in public sector enterprises, it is considered as outbound training program. And you have been conducting knowledge retreats at Rishikesh for about 4 days. So why do you want to spoil our knowledge retreat? Why don't you give us the same program in the form of a knowledge retreat at Rishikesh? And with all immediacy, this program was again structured as a Karma Yoga for professionals at Rishikesh. And we have around 80 nominations registered for that. The process is still undergoing its finalization. 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th of July, the same program shall be commenced at Rishikesh. So it started the program here in Delhi, but again, it sprung into different direction at Rishikesh. That is the interesting part of it. How did it come to my mind that I should create a program like Karma Yoga for professionals? Now, is everybody comfortable with English, or should I also keep tracking to Hindi and then coming back to English?
Both.
Both. Are you comfortable with both? No problem? Sure?
Comfortable.
Sure? Yeah. Now, I started teaching Karma Yoga in the philanthropic organization I had by the name Srijan in the month of September. There are around 42 shlokas in Karma Yoga. When I started, it's almost around 18 sessions are over, with having taught more than around 30 hours so far. And we are still on the shloka number 32, 10 remaining. I think it will take another about 7-8 hours, or maybe 10 hours to complete the entire Karma Yoga. So while I was teaching, as a teacher, you enjoy something more than any other person. What is that? Probably Bhavana will endorse me. When you read something as a scholar, you're reading, you're understanding, assimilating it. But it's with scarce that they are able to contemplate on the knowledge they read. मनन करने का प्रावधान सामान्य व्यक्ति में, सामान्य पाठक में कम होता है. अध्यापक के साथ, क्योंकि उसे अध्यापन करना है, माने पढ़ना है, फिर पढ़ाना है, तो पढ़ाने से पहले पढ़े हुए को उसे ऐसे स्वरूप में ढालना पड़ता है कि वो दूसरे तक उसे ले जा सके. And that creates ample room for contemplation. Because you have not to understand, but also at the same time make that concept understood by others. And especially with a teacher like me, who has to address a classroom where there are varied backgrounds present before you, people from public sector, people who are entrepreneurs, people who are shopkeepers, all kinds of people, diverse background. At that moment, you have to contemplate more that each and every single word that you pronounce should be rightly understood. They all come from different backgrounds, with different priorities. They act, they respond, they register facts distinctly. So that gave me more of a room to contemplate and understand. And then I understood that Karma Yoga is probably of more use to those who are day in, day out into decision making. People who have to work in different kinds of pressures. People who have to take pleasant, unpleasant decisions. Such people, they need Karma Yoga more than anyone else. It was going on into my mind since last March, April. But I was delaying it because under the corporate learning programs, I've been working on a subject called relentless silent will. And that program has been of a great success wherever I have taught it. So I was not planning to shift to another subject, but somehow Karma Yoga, it cast an impression on my mind that I should take it up for the sake of professionals. So in this particular program, for the coming 8 weeks, with this gone 7 more weeks, I am going to take up shlok by shlok, shlok by shlok. Apart from taking it shlok by shlok, verse by verse, I am also going to understand that all those decision makers who are traveling here with me are able to observe the knowledge within themselves. As a teacher, I have created a session for 3 hours. Very easily, it would have been reduced to 2 hours. Because whenever you talk to someone, a class for 3 hours, oh, this is a very long class. But for the knowledge to be assimilated, if you want to be one with the knowledge, you have to give time for contemplation. Not knowing that how much time would you be able to afford while you leave from here, I'm going to ensure that I give you ample amount of time to sit with me and contemplate upon it. So for the 8 weeks, 7 weeks to go more, we will embark upon each verse, trace its traits within our own life, with the working profile we have, and try to conduct a litmus test of our own individuality in light of various challenges that we confront within our own professional career. So that is how we are going to proceed in this particular learning. I will be making use of presentations, deliberations of course, and interactivity. But for interactivity, I am very precise, it has to be not a spontaneous interactivity, because interactivity born out of spontaneity is something which is not good with the ancient Indian wisdom. Spontaneity is good for various kinds of knowledge or information that we gather, but not for ancient Indian wisdom, on a basic premise that this knowledge is something which you have to assimilate, absorb, and then find yourself into it, and then wait for a question to arise. Before you ask a question, you have to also release a testimony that you are the appropriate seeker who has that question, not asking it out of spontaneity. So, we will have interactive sessions, we will have elaborate interactive sessions, and moreover, let me tell it right at the outset, you may be coming as a nomination from your company or may be coming on your own. This program is certainly spread into 8 sessions, but not in any way it is confined to 8 sessions. If I find my students not satisfied, we may prolong it to 10, maybe to 12, without any enhancement in any kind of fees. Not even a single month paisa. But this can be stretched forward to even the double amount of time which I've envisaged today. So, be unconditional for that matter, because the learning must further. It must further. People who undergo such experiences, people who associate with such knowledge, tomorrow they have to be the torchbearers of it in their own respective capacity. And unless Karma Yoga is able to reflect from our own lives, it is going to be dogmatic. So, This is how we are going to forward. Whenever we will start with a 20-minute session of contemplation, which I generally refer as meditation. I call it as meditation, but it is actually contemplation. We will start with a 20-minute session as meditation. Then we will go on to the teaching part. We will have a small refreshment. I was quite curious to understand where should I plant the refreshment part, the tea, etc. But ultimately I concluded, barring today, in the general sessions we will have the tea soon after the contemplative session, the meditative session. After the tea, then we will straight away embark upon the teaching part. And then we will conclude. That is our thing. Now going by the session, whether it has to be on Sunday or Saturday, there are two major denominators that have to ascertain this fact. And those are the convenience of all participants, number one, availability of the venue, number two. If at all it is convenient to all, we can have it even on Saturday evenings. That suits me the most. But if the venue is not available, then you will have to come down to my office, which is in Uday Park. And of course, not this kind of an environment over there. Obviously, the seminar hall, not kind of this, but we have a conference room, a small conference room or a meeting room where we can certainly have this program. But my first preference will be to have it in India International Center, where I get everything of my choice, including the parking part, which is probably difficult at my office. You have to park the vehicle at some distance. So before I start, let me ask most of the participants, how many of you would say that they want to stay on with Sunday?
So one question. I'm not registered. I was not aware. So probably I'll walk off. I think.
You're from?
I'm not registered for this session. I just walked in. I was not sure this is for registration. So maybe I'll take leave. I'm not registered for this.
Acha, you just got you passing by.
I was just passing by and I
Okay.
thought this is free. So
Okay.
but I wish you good.
Okay.
And sorry for that.
Thank you.
That's all.
No.
Yeah, thank you.
So how many of us go by Sunday? Saturday? Oh my God, Saturday has the majority. How about Saturday?
I have no problems.
No problem. Saturday? No problems?
Saturday can be.
Saturday is comfortable. Wonderful. Okay. Then Saturday is done. The powerful man wins. Okay, then we'll have it on Saturday. The timings are the same? Same timing? Same time. Okay. But now it will bank upon the availability of the venue. Because generally on Sundays, as I am given to understand, since I booked it for about 3 consecutive weeks, I was given to understand that Sunday evening the seminar hall is available.
Even you can try at ISC. India Habitat Center.
IHC.
Discuss it, sir. Plan it.
I'm telling that even at India Habitat Center,
Please,
it is nearby, next to.
if we can have it through your worthy offices, then there's no problem. We'll certainly go on to that also. But there I am given to understand that you have to book the meals along with. Only then they give you the venue. That is how I was given to understand. But if you can make it available, nothing like that. We have to see the availability. That's more prime. It's a prime aspect for us to
Where is your
do.
office? Uday Park? Where it is?
Main road, August Kranti Marg,
Towards.
towards Khelgaon. It's on the main road. The unfortunate part is that there is no parking available. You have to park elsewhere, in the lanes or somewhere at the back. So that is a disadvantage.
आपको करनाल वापस जाना है? नहीं, I'm comfortable Saturday. मुझे वापस जाना है. आप 1 घंटा एडवांस करना चाहते हैं? अगर आप सब कंफर्टेबल हैं तो. लेकिन सर आप पहले अपना कन्विंस
5:30 से 8:30 की बजाय अगर 4:30 से 7:30 कर दें तो ये क्या फायदा?
Best option. Best option.
Yes, I am also.
Nod your heads, please. Okay,
Thank you,
that's
sir.
good.
Thank you, sir.
Have it, Sale Char. You have to be vocal for that. Something that goes the best with you.
I'm comfortable, sir.
Okay, fine. We'll have it 4:30 in that case.
Thank you, sir.
Instead of waiting all the way for that. Good. Having shared all these pleasantries. Now we come to the more now before I go on to introduce the Karma Yoga, for which I have a different presentation altogether, why I consider it for the professional, that is something most important for me to explain. And for its help, I seek the light from shlok number 32, verse number 32. I am going to teach you this particular shlok again. But today I am invoking it with a specific purpose that I want to make you understand why it is mandatory for any professional mind to learn Karma Yoga. Why is it necessary? Why should I learn Karma Yoga? Is it going to earn me some sort of credit points called as punya? Or going to expand my seat of understanding? What respect it is? Let me invoke this particular verse, verse number 32, and bear it with me. You will have to learn it once again. Today you are having it for the sake of introduction of the Karma Yoga for professionals, and you shall have it again when I am going to embark verse by verse upon the learnings of Karma Yoga for professionals. And beside that, few lines about my introduction. I am a teacher of ancient Indian wisdom and self-development. I've been teaching since last more than 20 years. I've been teaching to various academic institutes, schools, colleges, universities. I've been teaching in open society under the banner of Srijan, which has its presence in now several districts of the country. And I've been teaching to various corporate clients as well. For me, teaching is a passion and a profession as well. I teach with right hand in service to the people without charging a single penny. And I teach with my left hand to make my livelihood. So I am a simple, ordinary, humble teacher. So I teach. I have around more than 40 books which I have written, out of which around 15 are in print. And most of the books I have written, they are in Hindi. Though my schooling was throughout in English, but yet I have got myself more versed with Hindi, and I write books in Hindi. I've written books of all kinds. There are some voluminous books by the name Swaguru Atma Sanket, compiling around 325 techniques of the ancient Indian wisdom. I have interpreted, this I word is not for the sake of reiteration of my personality, but since I have addressed myself grammatically, interpreted 2 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, namely the chapter 1 and chapter 2, and both have been published distinctly. Now the 3rd chapter, the interpretation to the 3rd chapter shall be published with all probability in the month of June or July. Likewise, I am going to stretch to 18 chapters, which I envisage will summarize to something like 9 to 10,000 pages. Apart from that, there are a couple of books, they are motivational, which I've written. I have a blog on the internet, very frequently visited. I have given almost all the links through my email to all the participants who are present here. If you don't have the links to that particular blog or my YouTubes, I have around 400 videos documented upon various subjects I've deliberated. 250 videos are available, out of which around 200 are available on YouTube channel by the name Gospel for Learning. They're all available and we will furnish you the links. You can visit them, go and also view them later. So this is the introduction which I have with me. Now let me come down to verse number 32. What is the time? I've given the time for the 6:05. So we have the time for the tea. The tea will not disturb us. Are you happy with the kind of arrangement we have done? We'll start with the contemplative meditation session and then we'll further. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, let us. Fine.
Sure. So you can come and settle down and then we can further. और उसका वो लगाना जरा ऑन करना पावर वाला उससे उतर गया.
In simple definition, can you define Karm Yoga?
I'm coming now. नहीं बेटा ये वाला है, इसका पीछे से ये उतर गया. Okay. Yeah. Right.
शेड आ गया उसमें.
Maybe because of this. I'll start it again. हो गया ठीक?
कोई बात
चल जाएगा.
चलेगा.
I'll like it. I wanted to start with verse number 32, but before that, one of my students has, I take the liberty to be addressed as a teacher, has raised a point that I should start with the introduction of the Karma Yoga. Now, I'll change this, the course of my teaching accordingly. We'll start by this, then we'll come down to 32. Karma Yoga, it is drawn from the root Krit, which means to act. Now, why Karma Yoga? This is something very interesting to understand. What is yoga word to do with this? Am I audible? Am I audible?
जी.
Now, what is yoga word to do with this? Yoga means to enjoy anything, any two things or three things, when they develop a synchronicity or a synergy, either of them, we term it as a yoga. Now, what does yoga have to do? I'm going more broad by introducing it. What does yoga have to do with any professional of the day? Today in this modern world, does it mean something which is purely to the parlance of the religion? No, not at all. I said yoga means to enjoy, catch hold of that aspect. According to the ancient Indian wisdom, the technology of consciousness, ancient Indian wisdom is the technology of awareness. Something which was researched during unknown times by unknown scientists. We do not have a record of them. We only know few remarkable names. But thousands and thousands of them are unknown. But their observations, their findings are known to us.
And very scientific.
Very scientific, in fact, indeed. According to them, if one is able to consolidate and draw one's awareness from where? According to ancient Indian wisdom, the awareness of any human being at any given point of time is spread into more than 64 locations. In simple words, it means that you and me who are present here in this room, you are listening to me, but at the same time, you are also present at 63 more distant locations. It may appear as weird initially, but it is a fact. Even the modern science has been able to ascertain that yes, human awareness at any given point of time is attributed to multiple locations. A portion of your awareness is assigned for the dispensation of your necessary organs inside. A portion of your awareness is also assigned to absorb what I am speaking over here. A portion of your awareness is also engaged in evaluation of whatever I am teaching right now. A portion of your awareness is also assigning whatever I am teaching here with the concepts that are already registered within your mind. You're trying to somehow weigh, test. And a portion of your awareness is also registering the facts which I am giving to you. And a portion of your awareness at the same time, commencing upon the critical appraisal of whatever I am teaching, can also reiterate and elucidate whatever has been given to you. Likewise, we are not present at one point of time. We are there in more than 60 different distinct locations, according to ancient Indian wisdom. Now, according to those great seers, yoga means to withdraw your awareness from all those different attributions and consolidate your entire human awareness at the end of your cerebrum. Kopri. Why? Because if you are able to consolidate and withdraw your awareness, believe me, I am teaching you as a teacher, and you should understand it deeply. There is a teacher of aerodynamics can teach how things fly. He cannot fly. I should be rightly understood. I am teaching you aerodynamics. That necessarily does not mean that I can fly a Boeing 747. I am teaching you aerodynamics, that's it. So when I am teaching you ancient Indian wisdom, you should have zero expectancy that whatever I am teaching, I am equipped, possessed with that ability. No, I am just a teacher. Teacher means I have read something, I am teaching my students. And students far exceed than teachers. History has taught us. You people can go beyond my imagination even. So, all through we are learning, this should be always a predominant factor in your mind. Teacher is teaching us aerodynamics, but he does not know how to fly. Now, according to those great seers, when we withdraw our awareness to our cerebrum, what happens is that entire dormant periphery of this cerebrum, it awakens. And once it awakens, it then immediately entangles and enjoins with the cosmic storehouse that we term as cosmic intelligence. I am talking according to them. And once our cerebrum in an awakened state is able to enjoin with the cosmic storehouse, then we know what all we should know, we know all what we want to know. We are equipped with a galactic torch. We can explore the galaxy to any extent. And that is called as evolution of a being. That is termed as evolution of a being. That is termed as moksha. That is termed as kalyana. Nothing else. When we say kalyan ho, that means that we evolve to an extent that we are able to withdraw our awareness from all integrities, because our awareness is always entangled on the count of our nature, the count of our propensities that we have developed in past lives, on count of sensory drivers that entangle into different issues, to withdraw from everywhere, and then commune and join with the cosmic storehouse is called as yoga in the spiritual parlance. What is Karma Yoga to do about that? Well, that is something which I'll again come back to, verse number 32. Before that, now I'll take a different route. For the sake of convenience, because it was understood that each one of us in the cycle of evolution is standing at a different level. We all are not same. It is just like talking about, I think, Kiranji will understand, we have a fundamental right, equality for all. But when you go on to interpret this law, it also comes to something like equality among equals. A chairman and a peon of a company cannot be, the adjudication cannot be very blunt and blank. It has to be very precise. Likewise, we are all same, but yet we are all under the cycle of evolution. We stand in different places. And to further our evolution, each one of us, based upon our propensities and the surrounds we have, the kala, the environment we have different likes. And our likes determine our interest. And our interest is able to further us in any direction we want to. Likewise, even for the sake of evolution, our great seers, they understood that for different people to evolve, there are different dimensions, different realms. For some people, emotion is at the highest. They want to go through the route of devotion. For some, they simply want to synthesize the facts. For them, knowledge alone will suffice in the beginning. For some, it's the relinquishment, sannyasa. And for some who are engrossed in action and activity, they cannot think of anything else but activity. For them, there is also a passage to evolve, to enjoy, have experience of yoga with the cosmic realm through Karma Yoga. This is something which we are not able to easily digest. How is it possible that I am working in a company, in a department or in an office, industry, 9 to 6 or 9 to 9? How is it possible that while dispensing my necessary obligation at my office, factory, etc., I can become an enlightened soul? How is it possible? This is something which I am not able to digest. This is Karma Yoga. Your 9 to 5 can make you Siddha. Last lecture, when I was embarking on the verse number 32, I was talking about that. It somehow gives an indication, because these sutras, they are indicators. In that I made a reference to Shri It's needless to say that most of you are aware of this name, Shri Dinesh. But generally in my classrooms, when I take such names, I say that Katrina is known to all, but people of this stature are not known to many. This kind of a gentleman, a Karma Yogi, do you think that he would not have developed paranormal powers? Abilities that extend beyond ordinary comprehension of a human being? It's impossible. Intellect has a limitation. Intellect can manipulate. It can work into a small compartment. It cannot go beyond. Innovativeness, creativity, they are not merely banking upon intellect. One experiment after another has reiterated this fact. Innovativeness, creativity, to be a Janak, establish new cultures, new work cultures, it mandates for an intervention of something beyond. Maybe you call it as intuit or whatever. If you say Ishridharan, I'm giving his example because it's a living example before us. For Karma Yoga, if I have to give you a god of Karma Yoga, I don't have anyone else except Ishridharan. He's a living god for Karma Yoga. Such a person, through normal dispensation of his obligations within 9 to 6 or 9 to 5, whatever, he has developed that ability. When it comes to decision making, he is not banking upon the facts that are produced before him. Generally, with any professional or any decision maker, how do you conclude upon subjects, people and situations? You conclude upon subject, people and situation based upon the facts that have been produced before you. But for a yogi, there is another branch, there is another intervention in the form of an intuit. You afford to have a 360-degree view of almost all the aspects of people, subject and situation, because there is no fourth state that we interact during our lives. They are able to access such a dimension where they come to know almost everything that they didn't need to know. It is therefore said that a yogi, a decision of a yogi, number one, shall never fail. Number one. Number two, even if the world fails, he shall stick to that because he knows, he has affirmed to it at the ends of his soul that this is appropriate. It may be that there is no conducive time, the call is not in accordance with that particular thought, drive or strategy, whatever, but this is appropriate. So Karma Yoga gives you an ability by not relinquishing yourself for any puja, for any upasana, for any jap, not going to even pilgrimages, just by dispensation of your normal, ordinary office life, signing files, talking to people, becoming aggressive, you can still evolve to a level where any yogi would have been able to do while confining to a recluse in Himalayas. That is something which is not easily digestible, because people think that evolution of a soul, people think to develop certain paranormal faculties, one needs to go to a recluse, which is not so. That is why Karma Yoga was introduced.